We'll
Bruce
see.
Brown. What's good, Bruce Brown?
Are his minutes still at 24?
No,
Wait, where are they?
29.
Are they actually?
Mm-hmm.
Last time I checked, they were at 24. So I'm gonna have to update that.
I hope I can make a lineup with everybody that I really like. Gonna have to leave one guy out. I already know who it's gonna
Bruce
be.
Brown averages how many fantasy points per minute?
1.05.
Okay.
Put an asterisk next to that. He's not that good, but
Okay.
I know it's your guy, so I won't.
He's my
Right on.
guy.
What?
He's totally all my guy. I'll take credit for him every single time he does good.
YouTube won't tell me that we're up.
Yeah, we're live now.
I need to see how unflattering this angle is. Oh. 277. Wow. I'm gonna create the mega team right now for cash tonight. Ready? It's gonna be epic. I'm gonna do it right now.
I was looking at some of my GPP lineups, and they were nasty.
Doubt it.
Absolutely nasty.
Doubt it.
Okay. Say what you want.
All right, fine. All right. Yeah. You know what? It's cool. Oh man, this really might work. Oh, no way. I'm gonna have to put in somebody that makes me sad. He's gonna be chalky though. He's so bad.
All right. I tweeted out the link. I'm pulling up the live stream now. What's up? What's up, guys? A lot of people joining. I love it. Really appreciate that support, Troy. Really appreciate that. That's awesome.
Oh man.
If it's your first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, TJ, you ready?
Yeah, you guys thought leaving 700 on the table last night was crazy?
Uh-oh. TJ's going to leave about $2,000 on the table tonight. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the live stream. Again, if this is your first time, we welcome you to our channel. We welcome you to our website. We welcome you to everything. Hopefully, you guys stay along, and we do this every single night. We break down the slate fully, and we obviously input values all the time, guys. We give you an edge every single night, and like I said in the video, this is the main event right here, the stream, because this is the most important news to get right before lock. We obviously find the edge every single night, guys. So with that being said, let's go ahead and break down the slate. TJ, I think what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to go through every single game since there's only 4 games, because there's literally value in every single game. So
Yep.
if you're with me on that, let's go ahead and start with Brooklyn.
I'm with you, pal.
Brooklyn, you want to go ahead?
With you till the end of the line, yeah. So DJ out. Looks like that's the only injury for them. Obviously, KD not playing this year, so it doesn't count. So we have DeAndre Jordan out tonight, which gives Jared Allen a bump in minutes at 6K. I mean, I don't really have too much interest in any of these guys for cash, to be honest with you. I'm definitely looking elsewhere. I don't hate Kyrie at 8,700 for GPPs tonight against Detroit. I definitely don't hate Jared Allen tonight for GPPs at 6,000. But when it comes terms of cash, I'm not really looking at any of these guys tonight, Matt. I don't mind Joe Harris at 4,200 getting 30 minutes again. Averages 0.8 fantasy points per minute. So I don't hate him if you land on him for cash, but I'm definitely looking elsewhere for cash tonight. Don't really have too much interest in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I think Brooklyn was very intriguing at the start here, but as obviously all the value came out, they just started to become less intriguing. I did like Kyrie Irving, like you said. I think these guys are strictly just GPP plays at this point. Of course, Joe Harris is a great play here at 4.2, 30 minutes for GPPs. And LeVert, he actually did get put into the starting role here, as you guys mentioned in the Discord. By the way, if you haven't gotten to the Discord, go ahead and go to my previous video. Go ahead and enter that link to get into the Discord. Again, this is another outlet that we use to talk over DFS strategies and everything. Jarrett Allen also got that slight boost in minutes. I think he was at 27, but he's at 29 now. Not too much to be said with Jarrett Allen. Again, Claxton is back, so he's not in that very thin rotation anymore. It's still thin, but at 6K, there's other values on the slate. So, guys, I just want to take a moment. We're getting a lot of people here. Thanks for all the love. I'm not going to get to all the comments, but thank you so much, guys. If you have any questions on the slate, feel free to enter them into the chat. We're going to go through every single game. Hopefully we answer those questions, but we're going to go back to them and we're going to answer all the questions. Guys, let's flip over to Detroit, TJ. And as I said, I'm getting a bunch of advertisements on my screen. Go ahead and start with Detroit.
Yeah, so I definitely like Detroit tonight. Drummond at 9,100 seems like an absolute auto lock for me in cash against Brooklyn. I really love the matchup. Averages 1.41 fantasy points per minute. Obviously, we're without Blake Griffin, Luke Kennard, and Kyrie Thomas. I'm sorry, but we also have Reggie Jackson sitting out tonight, and we also have Tony Snell. So I definitely like attacking Drummond tonight in cash. I think he's going to be super chalky. I think he's a great play tonight against Brooklyn. I'm also going back to the well, I think, with Derrick Rose at 7,500. I love the matchup against Brooklyn. It's a pace-up spot for Detroit. I like the minutes that he's been getting a lot lately. Reggie Jackson kind of took away from Derrick's usage last night, unfortunately. Still hit value, but I definitely like him a lot more tonight. I know it's a back-to-back, and I know sometimes, with Derrick Rose, you never know, but the minutes have been there for him lately, so he's been starting as well, so I'm definitely going to roll the dice with Derrick Rose again tonight in cash. I'm thinking as of right now, I think, like I said, he's in a really good spot against Brooklyn. Should see 32 minutes. Bruce Brown is back, which might affect D-Rose a little bit if he starts, but I think Reggie Jackson being back affects D-Rose a lot more, especially if they start side by side because they're both very significant ball handlers.
Reggie Jackson's out.
No, I know. So I'm saying like last night, Reggie Jackson starting alongside Derrick Rose affected D-Rose's usage, but if Bruce Brown starts alongside Derrick Rose, I don't hate that. I definitely like that more opposed to the D-Rose, Reggie Jackson backcourt. So I understand that Bruce Brown is back. I also do like Bruce Brown tonight, especially if he starts. I think he's in a really good spot. Should see about 30-ish minutes at 3.9. I think he is a very good value play tonight. So for cash night, I'm definitely looking at Drummond. I think Drummond's a lock. I'm definitely looking at Derrick Rose. I'm most likely going to lock him as well. And then you're going to need some value tonight. I'm definitely looking at Bruce Brown at 3,900.
Yeah, Andre Drummond is going to be the highest owned on the slate probably just because he is in an absolute smash spot there against Brooklyn. Brooklyn struggles against bigs. Bruce Brown, you guys know Bruce Brown is my guy. If he's only projected here at 7%, that is crazy. 3.9 price tag. He averages 1.05 fantasy points per minute. 29 minutes. I will take him in a lot of my lineups and GPPs in both cash. Hopefully he can make it into our cash lineup. Langston Galloway is also not a bad value. I need to recalculate his value because his minutes did go down. He's not as productive, but I think he could end up being a solid GPP option, maybe a pivot off of Bruce Brown, because again, if Bruce Brown does struggle, then Galloway will come right in there. Hopefully be a nice man off the bench there. So Derrick Rose, yeah, obviously, like you said, Derrick Rose is a fantastic play. He he averages between 1.3 and 1.4 fantasy points per minute, anywhere in between there, depending on the rotation. So with Derrick Rose, I think I'm going to draw the line there. I think Demboye is not that productive of a player, and there's not too many people down there that intrigue me too much. So minute-wise, no, there's nobody else.
Right.
So let's go ahead over to one of my favorite teams to look at tonight, OKC. Again, this is another pace-up spot for OKC. Do you want to go ahead and start it off?
Yeah, a bunch of injuries for them. We're still pending Steven Adams, which could be huge for somebody like Mike Muscala because Nerlens Noel is out tonight. They're obviously without Gallinari as well. So the one guy that I'm really honing in on and looking at for a cash play is definitely going to be Chris Paul. Averages 1.52 fantasy points per minute with all of these guys off the court. And it's actually a very good sample size, too. So I'm definitely very high on Chris Paul, especially in this matchup against Minnesota. Like you said, it is a pace-up spot for OKC on the road. 225 over-under, which is actually the second highest on the slate. So I'm definitely on board with Chris Paul tonight, seeing 32 minutes. It is pretty tough, though, with these other guards like SGA and Schroeder. I mean, a lot of those guys are effective, but if I'm taking one, it's going to be Chris Paul. They're all actually priced pretty significantly similar tonight. SGA being 76, Chris Paul at 7K, Schroeder actually at 69. So I definitely like CP3 in this spot. He's definitely going to find his way in my cash lineup. Steven Adams, if he does play with Noel out, I really like that at 6,200 tonight. He's a 1.21 fantasy point per minute with all these injuries. So I can definitely get behind Steven Adams as maybe like a last spot in my cash lineups. I'm not going out of my way to roster him, but if he does play and see those minutes, I can definitely get behind him. And then the other guy I'm looking at is Darius Baisley at 3,100. He's projected at 30 minutes. Right now, it is projected that he's going to start as well. So at 3.1, getting 30 minutes, averages 0.78 fantasy points per minute with all these injuries. Looking like a near lock for me right now. We'll definitely have to wait and see what happens with some of these other injuries. I know AD is still questionable. I think he's going to play. I'm not going to sit here and say I think AD is out again tonight. I'm not doing that. So I think AD plays tonight. So yeah, that won't really shake up too much. So I definitely don't mind Darius Baisley at 3,100. I mean, for somebody at 3,100, almost a min price, getting 30 minutes. I mean, that's kind of crazy. So
absolutely. I mean,
if he actually does see those minutes, then yeah, that's most likely a near lock for me at 3,100.
Yeah, and 0.78 is actually not that bad. So
no, it's not, especially for somebody.
31.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
So again, pace up spot for OKC. I think if I had to pick a team, my favorite team on the slate, I think it's the OKC guys. Steven Adams, of course, also being fairly productive without Noel on the court. So I think there's three guys here that stand out to me: Steven Adams, Baisley, Chris Paul, and then I think Muscala, just because of his ownership. I think there's going to be other options in that same spot. I think 25 minutes, he might end up becoming more of a GPP option. But I'm not saying he's not a bad play for cash, but just because of ownership, strictly. But yeah, I mean, I really do like OKC. I think Chris Paul being one of my favorite GPP options, if he's really coming in at 29%, as you said, he's just such a productive player with all these injuries. So I totally...
He might be my favorite cash play tonight, too, honestly.
Yeah, I think Chris Paul overall is like our favorite play. So definitely going to lock in Chris Paul, guys. Chris Paul, one of my favorite plays. Steven Adams, another great play. Baisley, one of the best value plays on the slate, for sure. Guys, if this is your first time joining the chat, thank you so much. We're getting up to 48 people here. Let's see if we can break the record. I think the highest we've got here is around 60. So thank you so much for your support, guys. If you have any questions on the slate, feel free to enter them into the chat. And of course, if you are a non-subscriber, I will hunt you down. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video, guys. We're going to go ahead and move along here. Ask any questions you have in the chat. We're going to move right over here to Minnesota. I was high on a couple of these players, but with all this value, I don't really see much opening. TJ, you want to go ahead and break down Minnesota?
Yeah. Like you said, I think tonight might be the first time in a while. Jake Layman's questionable, so if he ends up playing, this might be the first time in a while I've seen Minnesota with no injuries, which is surprising. I mean, Jake Layman, not anybody that we need to take really into consideration, but fully healthy Minnesota team. Don't really have too much interest in any of these guys for cash. I don't mind Josh Okogie at 3,700 if he does see those 30 minutes. He rates out fairly well on our sheet, averages 0.78 fantasy points per minute. So I definitely don't mind him as a last piece for cash. I like Cat as a GPP play. I mean, especially if Steven Adams sits. I mean, they're gonna have Mike Muscala that's gonna have to try and match up with him. So they're gonna have nobody to cover Cat down low. So if Steven Adams is out, I definitely love Cat and GPPs. But those are really the only two guys that I kind of have any interest in, to be honest with you, tonight.
Completely agree with you. I think I can just move on. I pretty much agree with you on everything.
I think I like Wiggins a lot more with Cat than without him.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't mind Cat as a GPP. I mean, Wiggins tonight as a GPP play at 7K. He's definitely a lot more productive with Cat on the court. I feel like it takes a little bit of the pressure off of him to be the man. So he's kind of that second option behind Cat. So he's definitely been playing a lot better since Karl-Anthony Towns has been back. So I guess I can also get behind Wiggins as a GPP play. But like I said, Wiggins GPP play, Cat, especially if Adams is out. I mean, I love him as a GPP play. And then Okogie, I mean, at 3,700, you're going to need some value for cash to pay up for these guys like Drummond, Rose. We'll get into some of those Philly guys in a little bit, but yeah, I can definitely get behind Okogie as a filler as a last spot tonight at 3,700.
He's also in a good matchup. It's just Okogie is so up and down. It's like, is he gonna have a 6-point night or is he gonna have a 30-point night? There's no in between for him. So yeah, it's strictly GPP. I feel like. With Chicago's also very interesting. A couple good plays because they have a thin rotation down low, as we know. So Thaddeus Young's in the top of my list here at 6.8 value, 32 minutes, 4.4. I mentioned him in my video. He was my favorite play when I released the video. He's still a very, very solid play. However, not as good as some of these other plays, but I still like him a lot. Again, Cleveland is they do struggle against forwards. So I do like Young, and I do like Kobe White at 26 minutes. I have to readjust his price here, but he's coming around a 6 point per dollar value, so I don't mind him as well. Also, Chris Dunn actually does secretly well with these injuries off the court. 5.8K is what he's coming at. 5.7 on their sheet, which isn't bad. I think he's strictly a GPP option, but again, I don't really like Zach LaVine, as I stated in my video. 9.2K is just a little too much for me. It's a bad matchup for him as well. Cleveland does do pretty well against scoring wings, apparently, so 9.2 is a little too much for me. Do you have any opinions on these Bulls, TJ?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty evident that Thad Young will probably be the chalkiest guy on the slate. He'll start again tonight, see 30 plus minutes, 4,400. I mean, he needs to be a building block, and he needs to be cemented into your cash lineups tonight. Like you said, I definitely have interest in Dunn. I definitely have interest in White, especially in GPPs. So I can definitely get behind both of them for GPPs, but for cash tonight, I'm just looking at Thad Young. He's definitely going to be in my cash lineup. He should be in everybody's that's in this stream. They should all have Thad Young in their cash lineup tonight at 4,400. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of my only interest in these Bulls. I actually do really like Kobe White. I wish his minutes were a little bit more, but at 4,200. Oh, sorry, he's projected at 26. Yeah, so I do really like Kobe White tonight. So he'll definitely be a good GPP play for me. But yeah, I'm definitely looking at Thad Young for cash. And like I said, everybody else should roster him tonight for cash.
Yes, completely agree. Also, guys, right now we're going through every single game. At the very end of the stream, we'll go ahead and give you our favorite plays. So stay tuned. Go ahead and fire any questions you have into the stream. We'll get to them in just a second, guys. For Cleveland, I stated on the video, and I feel like this is the exact same picture. There's no injury news for these guys. I like the big guys from Cleveland, and I hate the guards. I feel like there's no reason you should play any of these guards tonight. They really don't have a good matchup, but on the flip side, you have the bigs in a very, very good matchup against Chicago. Obviously, they have no big guys tonight, so that makes Kevin Love a very good GPP option. He's actually showing a bit on the chalkier side. Tristan Thompson also being a fairly decent option down low, and then Nance at 25 minutes, also a good option. I don't know if I'm going to play these guys in cash necessarily, but they could be good GPP plays. Like I said, they're in very, very good matchups. And then again, I'm not touching any one of these guards tonight for Cleveland.
Yeah, the only guy I'm really looking at, especially for cash, would be Kevin Love. I think he's the only cash viable guy for me from Cleveland. I don't necessarily think I'm going to roster him tonight in cash because, like I said, I kind of really have the direction in which I'm going, and unfortunately that excludes him. But he's definitely in a great spot against Chicago. He'll definitely carry some ownership tonight. So, like I said, if you have the money to go up and pay for him after you fill out everybody you want, then I can definitely get behind that. Not somebody that I'm going out of my way to roster, but if I do end up rostering Kevin Love in cash, I definitely don't hate it. But yeah, I don't have. That's the only guy that really I'm looking at. If Larry Nance was getting more minutes, yeah, I would definitely love him. But he definitely got. I mean, he's come up since he was 3-9 on 2 games ago against the Knicks. Now he's at 5-3. So if the minutes were more secure, yeah, I could get behind it. He's definitely in a really good spot, so I don't mind him as a GPP play. I definitely like Nance more than TT. So yeah, the only guy that I'll be rostering tonight, if anything, would be Kevin Love from Cleveland.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and I think Tristan Thompson is your other viable option. But again, I can't really see him in cash. So
right. No, yeah, you're right. TT at 59. I mean, that's really cheap for a guy going up against Chicago. So I want to retract my last statement and say that I do like TT more than Nance, but I think I definitely think anything for cash is Kevin Love.
Absolutely. Lakers, we know that AD is pending injury news. I feel like we shouldn't even talk about that. I think the only viable option from LA at this point, just because there's going to be so much value on the slate, is LeBron James. You're either going to have to pay up for LeBron, and then AD, there's like you'd be looking at Drummond as opposed to AD. So AD for GPP if he is playing, and if not, it's obviously going to shake up the entire slate. I think LeBron James is really the only option that we're looking at here from the Lakers. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, tonight, if you want to try and find some leverage in GPPs, I would definitely suggest getting off of Drummond and going to AD and probably, 40% differential in ownership.
Yeah, more than
not that I really advise doing it because I definitely like Drummond's matchup, But I also really do like AD's matchup against Philly. I mean, they're going to have Al Horford on him or Tobias Harris. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't really necessarily know who will match up against AD. I would guess Tobias Harris, and that's definitely a handful for somebody for AD. So I definitely like these bigs against Philly because with no Embiid, that forces Al to play the 5, Tobias to play the 4. So a team that normally is one of the bigger teams. Them and the Lakers match up fairly well against each other if Embiid is in the game. But I definitely like JaVale McGee as a GPP play. I also like Dwight Howard as a GPP play just because of their size against Philly. Like I said, it's going to be a handful for Al and Tobias on the defensive end. Definitely LeBron as a cash option tonight. I'd love to get up and get there and get him, but I don't think I will. We're going to have to wait and see because I definitely like Drummond. I definitely like Chris Paul. Definitely like Derrick Rose. So it's going to be tough to roster those three and somehow still get LeBron. But I definitely think LeBron is cash viable. And like I said, I really do like these bigs against Philly.
Yeah, completely agree with you. Last but not least, Philly's an interesting team to look at because this is a pace down spot for Philly, but they're without Richardson. They're also without Embiid, which opens up a lot of opportunity for them. I don't hate these players, and I really like Tobias Harris just because he's going to be the only guy that's really going to do anything. He's obviously going to step into that Josh Richardson-like role, and Josh Richardson obviously he did fairly well without Embiid, so somebody has to step up for him. I think Tobias Harris actually ends up being a fairly decent option. He's actually showing as a pretty high-owned player too. So Tobias Harris, 35 minutes, 7.1. He's showing fairly undervalued on their sheet. And then Al Horford also at 6.5, just because of all these guys out the two main guys out for Philly. It really shakes up the Philly picture here. So the Lakers, I keep getting phone calls, of course, while I'm on stream. The Lakers are actually a fairly good defensive team here, so they don't match up well against them. But again, it's just like with the usage and with the rotations that are gonna have to be so thin for Philly. I feel like Tobias Harris, Al Horford, and then I also forgot to mention Korkmaz here at 31 minutes. I feel like those are the only viable options here. And then everybody else, I think Ben Simmons is a fairly decent GPP option. However, at 9.4, he's starting to get a little pricey for me. What do you think about Philly?
Yeah, I love Tobias Harris and I love Al Horford at their price tags with the injuries to Embiid and Richardson. They both rate out really well on our sheets. I'm definitely going to do everything I can to get both of them in our cash lineup tonight. The minutes will be there. They have a very tough matchup against the Lakers. I understand that. And I did just mention that I do like the bigs against these two of Harris and Horford. But I also like Harris and Horford on the offensive side of the ball. So at 7,100 for Tobias Harris, somebody that garners a 3% usage bump with these guys off the court and 1.2 fantasy points per minute, should see 36 minutes at 7,100. I'm all on board on that. Like I said, it's definitely a tough matchup against the Lakers. Should hopefully remain competitive, even though Philly is without Embiid and without Richardson. They're at home. It's definitely going to be tough for them, but I definitely love Tobias Harris and Al Horford. And I can definitely get behind Korkmaz as the last spot at 4,500. They're going to need somebody to score to step up besides Tobias Harris, besides Al Horford. And you did mention Simmons. I like him as a GPP play. Definitely too pricey for me tonight. But yeah, Korkmaz, I can get behind that as a cash play, I guess, if you land on him. I don't love it, but I can get behind it as a last piece. I mean, at 4,500, I'd definitely rather roster somebody like Thad Young and rearrange my lineup. So, you got 44 and 4,500. But yeah, Tobias Harris, Al Horford, definitely targets for me tonight.
Yeah, I think that outside of those two players, I think everybody else becomes GPP options at that point just because of the matchup, because of the low over-under. And it's not that I hate them. It's just there's way better options here on the rest of the slate. So that will wrap up every single team, guys. Go ahead and feel free to enter in any questions you have about any of the teams or the players. I'm about to break down my favorite plays here. If you are completely new to the chat and the stream, guys, what I typically do is I break down 150 different lineups, not to enter, but to see what the builds are looking like, seeing what players kind of stand out when they go together in these builds, and that kind of tells me what my favorite plays are going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and look at that for you guys right now. All these players we just mentioned. So to top the list off here, Chris Paul, as we've stated, is one of our favorite plays, if not our favorite player on the entire slate. I like Steven Adams a lot. Obviously, if he plays, he should play just because they don't have Noel. Bruce Brown, one of our favorite plays. Andre Drummond, Thaddeus Young, Tobias Harris, and Baisley, Derrick Rose. After that, it looks like everybody else is going to be more of a GPP option, but those are my favorite plays on the slate, TJ. I think you can agree with that. Is there anybody else that I'm missing?
Yeah, Josh Okogie I think is cash viable. Not a favorite play, but definitely cash viable tonight. My building blocks tonight for cash are definitely going to be Thad Young, Andre Drummond, Chris Paul, and I would say Bruce Brown, but I also really like Darius Baisley at 3,100. I think he should be most likely a building block in your lineup tonight. And then it's kind of what direction you want to go from there. Do you want to go with Tobias Harris and Al Horford, which is something I'm leaning toward? If you can get Derrick Rose in there too, I think that's definitely cash viable. Mike Muscala, keep an eye on him, especially if Steven Adams is out. I think if Steven Adams is out, he becomes a lock at 3,500. If you can pay up and get LeBron, I definitely don't hate that. We talked about Cork Maz as the last piece. Definitely don't hate him at 4,500. And like I said, Josh Okogie, 3,700. Because there's definitely a lot of guys you want to pay up for tonight, being Drummond, Tobias Harris, Derrick Rose, Chris Paul, if you want to try and get Kevin Love too. I mean, there's a lot of good plays tonight, and there's a lot of value in Thad Young, Darius Baisley, Bruce Brown, Josh Okogie. There's guys that you can go and roster on the lower end so that you can pay up for some of these studs like Drummond. If you need to get LeBron, you can do that too. So there's definitely a bunch of different options that you can go tonight. I like kind of that mid to high tier range with starting as Drummond as my most expensive guy and then kind of going down. But that's me, and that's kind of the direction that I think we're going to be going tonight. And like I said, if Steven Adams is out, that obviously makes Muscala a great play, but that also makes Karl-Anthony Towns a really good play. So pretty interesting to see if we got Adams in or not tonight. That'll be pretty big.
Yeah, that will be big. And of course, obviously the AD news. And then after that, I think everything else is solidified. I'm going to go ahead and start rolling through the questions and comments here, guys. Grant says, who will be my Gary Trent tonight? I think it's Galloway. So to give that a little bit of a background story, Gary Trent, we didn't like the one night. At least TJ didn't. And then Grant
Gary
came
Trent
back.
Stinks.
Yeah, Grant came back and said, I told you so. So, yeah, Galloway could definitely be in another spot.
37 seconds left.
Yeah, that's DFS, right? So
I think it's going to be Darius Baisley tonight, but I mean he'll probably be pretty chalky. So I guess that. But I mean Gary Trent was 40% that night. So yeah, I think Baisley is is the sweetheart of the night at 3,100. Yeah, I mean as long as he starts 30 minutes for somebody at 3,100, that's pretty crazy.
I'm still in love with Bruce Brown, and I love Baisley as well. So those are my favorite value plays for tonight.
What else have we got in the chat?
Great call on Booker last night. Yes, I ended the chat. I think actually after TJ got off, I said, oh yeah, I completely forgot about Booker. Yeah, Booker was one of my favorite plays. He got a heavy increase with the injuries off the court against the Spurs and actually had overexposure to him. So that's actually, it made me have a really good night. So yeah, Booker was a great call last night. Thanks for giving me credit on that. GPP line, what's up?
I said I love Booker.
You said you like Booker too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have him at the top of my list here, so.
Love that. Let's go.
Nice. All right, so GPP line, Kyrie, D. Rose, Bruce Brown, Thad Young, Steven Adams, Chris Paul, Baisley. That is absolutely sensational. I like that line. Mm-hmm. I mean, that has all the plays that we said. Is
there enough value to roster both Cat and Drummond? Absolutely. Absolutely enough value to roster Cat and Drummond tonight in GPPs, for sure. Yep.
SGA or Rose? Rose?
I like Rose. I understand SGA. But I'm more on the Chris Paul side, so that's why I'm saying Derrick Rose. But yeah, Bobby Sticks, Claxton, and Galloway are in my cash lineup.
No, the Claxton.
Right. Yeah, I probably wouldn't do that. Galloway at 3.6. I mean, all right, that's fine. But like Claxton at 3,300, I'd rather rearrange my lineup and get Baisley in there. Save $200 too.
At least for cash. I mean, you can value GPP
for cash. Definitely take the minutes and Baisley getting 30 opposed to Claxton getting backup center minutes.
Is Irving more of a GPP or cash? Well, I think Irving's actually going to be lower owned than what we originally thought. I think he's more of a GPP option at this point. However, if he's one of your last plays, I don't mind him in cash either. But more of a GPP option for sure.
Yeah. Okogie and Brown safe in the same lineup for DK Cash? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. I like Bruce Brown a lot more than Okogie, but I definitely don't mind Okogie as a last piece at 3,700.
CP3, Galloway, Brown, Baisley, Adams, LeBron, Horford, Drummond. I like that. I do. That's a good GPP because I think Horford's going to go low owned or lower than he should. Galloway's going to go low owned. The rest of the guys I like.
Absolutely. Yeah, I actually just moved off of Horford and Cash. I have a lineup that I really like, and it excludes him, unfortunately. But
and it looks like somebody else is trying to get a marketing thing in here, so we'll ignore that.
You're not a member, just the live in Instagram.
Yeah. Don't follow that guy.
No, give Juan some support. Let's go, Juan. How are we feeling about the Laker bigs? I just touched on that. I really like them tonight. I think they have a great matchup against. Matt, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, my YouTube thing's frozen, so I just want to make sure. I really like the Laker bigs tonight against Philly. I think they're in a phenomenal matchup. I don't think Al Horford can cover JaVale McGee. I don't think Tobias Harris can cover AD. So I definitely like attacking AD, JaVale McGee, and Howard tonight in GPPs for sure.
Next question is small forward for GPP. Good question. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. I need to see who's low owned here on my lineup. So I'm gonna go ahead and rebuild here so I can get updated ownership.
I kind of like Wiggins at 7K, to be honest with you. It's a pretty good matchup against OKC, and like I said, he's been playing a lot better since Cat's been in there. So if you have the money, I think that Tobias Harris will be significantly more owned than Andrew Wiggins. So I don't mind Wiggins as a GPP play tonight. I like Tobias Harris's spot a little bit better, but if you're looking for leverage, I think Tobias Harris, especially in that price range, I think Harris is going to be decently high owned. So if you want to get off of him and go to Wiggins, I don't mind that for a GPP play tonight.
If Bruce Brown's really at 31%, I like Bruce Brown for GPP. If he's actually that low and he's going to create that much of an edge, I still like Bruce Brown a lot. Tobias Harris is showing as being lower owned than my exposure, so Tobias would be another good one. But if you're looking for a very, very low owned small forward, somebody like Chris Dunn is right there for you. They're in the up pace game. Chris Dunn actually benefits without the injuries. I didn't even know he played small forward till now.
I like Chris Dunn too, yeah.
All right. Rose or Paul and Cash tonight? That's a great question. Try to get both those guys in there, but probably Paul.
Why no SGA love? I definitely like SGA, but I would rather save $600 and get Chris Paul. Like I said, between SGA, Chris Paul, and Schroeder, they're all in good matchups. They're all around the same price. So I personally would just rather get Chris Paul and save some money, and I'd rather go Chris Paul over Schroeder. But I mean, if you have the money to get SGA, I'm all for it. He's in a fantastic spot, as well as Chris Paul.
Nance, Howard, or Prince? Which Howard? Are you talking about Dwight?
Probably Dwight Howard.
Last spot, probably Nance. If I had to pick those, just because he has a good matchup. Nance or Prince, I probably wouldn't go Howard. Unless what's his face is out, but 22 minutes at 5.2 is way too expensive.
Yeah, I'd probably go. I'd probably go Prince, just because the minutes are more secure. GPPs, I'd rather go Nance. But like I said, I do love Dwight's matchup, so I don't hate any of those guys, to be honest with you, tonight if you land on them.
Wood is definitely a no-go, right? Yes, nobody should be played from Detroit down low besides Drummond. Wood is 16 minutes, no. Demboye, no, he's just not productive, no. Yeah, nobody else should be played but Drummond tonight for Detroit. Drummond,
yeah, you can take Wood as like an absolute flyer GPP, but at 4,700, the most minutes he'll see realistically is like 22, even if he's playing very well, unless Drummond gets in some severe foul trouble. So I would label Christian Wood as like an outside GPP if you're trying to get completely crazy.
Drummond or LBJ priority in cash? Drummond 100%. I think Drummond is actually coming to be one of the highest owned on the slate. He is at 50%. So that's in tournaments. So he'll probably be somewhere close to 80 to 90% in cash just because of the slate size.
Yeah, he'll definitely be chalking in it.
CP3, D Rose, Korkmaz, Bruce Brown, LeBron, Baisley, K-Love, Thaddeus Young, Drummond, FanDuel. Okay, so we don't cover FanDuel's pricing. However, we do like those DraftKings picks, so take that as you will. I don't know if FanDuel has some secretly good GPP plays. I don't know. I won't really comment on that because we don't know FanDuel's pricing. So this is strictly DraftKings.
Yeah, the plays as a whole are they're all relatively good plays, so that's definitely for sure.
Yeah, and also noteworthy, Levert is in the starting lineup tonight, so he's a better play than he usually is, and Levert's just so productive. But I just don't know how he'll act on that starting lineup because again, he scores a majority of his points from the backup unit. So 27 minutes though, 4.8.
He's not starting.
He was announced starting.
No, it's Kyrie, Temple, Harris, Prince, and Allen.
Really? So why is he getting 27 minutes?
He always plays that off the bench.
No, he doesn't. Not that many.
Well, he was coming back from an injury, but he should get 27 minutes.
I thought they shook up their starting lineup. At least somebody said that in our Discord. Yeah, he got 22 last game, 28,
should start.
24.
Nice.
Yeah, no, he's a great player.
Yeah.
Well, then Levert would just be a GPP option then.
So no, you just want to lock them. If you look on the far right section, you'll see an LK button, and it looks like a lock. You just click on that, and that'll give you 100% exposure to those guys.
Yeah, also, if you guys are new to Rotogrinders or any kind of lineup building tool, I just highly recommend you guys give my video I posted yesterday. I gave a complete tutorial on how to do GPPs and like mass entering contests. So that's what I do every single night. So if you guys have not given that a watch, please do so after the stream if you guys are complete noobs like Sano.
Okogie or Galloway? Matt, I think we're going to be split here. I like Okogie.
It depends on the contest, I'll say that.
I mean, I don't like either of them, but if I'm taking one, it's Okogie for me.
Let me see what Galloway's at. 10%, okay, and I'm assuming Okogie's going to be higher owned here.
No, they're probably going to be around the same.
25%.
Refresh, because I think you're a little off with your...
I've been refreshing too, so let me do it one more time.
Okay, maybe I need to then.
How do you check ownership? So Roto has their ownership projections here on the side. You have to have a premium subscription to view that. That is one of the most important things when looking at contests is ownership, and that's why a lot of people have these subscriptions. There was actually a debate on Twitter about this yesterday. I just wanted to gouge my eyes out.
What else? Dinwiddie or Wiggins? I like Wiggins. Like I said, I think he's been playing a lot better since Cat has been back. So I like Wiggins at 7K.
Yeah.
Albert. Who's Albert?
That's what it was. Dinwiddie was taken out of the starting lineup. He's not in there, right?
Dinwiddie is. No, they're both him and Levert. Both.
That's what it was. Okay. Yeah. So I was thinking Levert moved in for him. So yeah, Dinwiddie's not starting. Steven
Adams go. We're still pending Steven Adams. And that's pretty big because I think that obviously Mike Muscala will start if Steven Adams is out. And then, like I said, I think Karl-Anthony Towns is an absolute smash spot if Steven Adams sits. So
absolutely.
Yeah, it's pretty big. We're still pending that Steven Adams news. So yeah, I mean that could definitely shake things up for sure. For sure.
And I actually like Steven Adams if he plays because he has to be on the floor to go against Cat as much as he can.
Yeah. What else you guys got?
Yeah, we're going to answer a few more questions, and then we're going to go ahead and get off here. We usually get off around 6:30-ish, but again, this is a small slate, so.
Yeah. So, guys, again, just to reiterate, for cash tonight, I think that your building blocks for tonight for DraftKings are going to be Thaddeus Young, Andre Drummond. I really like Darius Baisley at 3,100, especially because he's a big salary saver. I really like Bruce Brown at 3,900. I love Chris Paul at 7K. I can get behind D Rose at 7,500. I can definitely get behind K Love at 7,900. I think Tobias Harris is in a really good spot. Somebody that's going to have to be really productive tonight to keep up with LA at 7,100. I like Al Horford at 6,500. And yeah, that's kind of the direction that I'll be going tonight in cash. Like I said, if you land on SGA, I don't hate it. If you can get up and get LeBron, I don't hate it. So yeah, that's the direction that I'll be going again tonight for cash. But like I said, my building blocks tonight, the core that I think you should be building with are Thaddeus Young, Andre Drummond, Baisley, Bruce Brown.
I agree with you. Any more
And
questions,
those
guys?
um, and then, yeah, like I said, still make sure you monitor that Steven Adams news because that's very big for somebody like Mike Muscala. So just keep an eye out on that.
Also, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We do this every single night. We kid you not, we do this. We are dedicated. We do this almost full-time. I feel like it's full-time at this point. We put up a video every single day. We go live before lock every single day. TJ's at his computer at work, always punching in values. So again, guys,
I don't actually work. I just did that.
So we do this, yes, for fun, but this is a passion of ours, and we have obviously been profitable from this. We also have a free cash line, or not a free. We actually have a cash line that you can pay for with our NBA subscription on our website at dailygrindfantasy.com.
Yeah, guys, and I'm not trying to sit here and toot my own horn, but the cash lineup that we have for tonight, it's 100% cashing. So if you're not on board, make sure you are because we're cooking up some gas over here, as the kids say.
Levine too overpriced tonight, slightly. Yeah. I think he's slightly overpriced, 9.2. I think there's actually better options on that Chicago roster than Levine. LeBron might be a lock strictly just because it's going to be hard to fit. I wouldn't say he's a lock, but I think he's a fairly good play just because of all this value. He's your only pay-up option. I mean, if you look at the salaries here, he is the most expensive, followed by Towns.
I wonder who covers LeBron tonight. I wonder if they let Thibault try.
That would be interesting.
I'm definitely intrigued to see the matchup for LeBron. Like, will Ben Simmons check him? Most likely, but I'd definitely be interested to see if Thibault gets a knock at him.
Okay, guys, I will put
He's
up.
a hell of a defender.
Yeah, he is. I was actually, I was watching one of their games and they were talking about him just being one of the best. Yeah, I think he has like the highest steal percentage in the NBA.
Yeah, it's insane. I'm pretty sure he leads the league in steals. Him and Ben, they're a great defensive unit, and when they get Embiid back, man, that's scary.
I'm going to leave my exposures up here, guys. This is not the exact exposures I'm going to use, but it shows my favorite plays on the slate. If you guys are late to the stream or if you're new to the stream, here it is. We just covered all these plays, and of course, pending the Steven Adams news and AD. AD should play, but again, we never know with him. AD to the locker room,
guys,
right?
If AD is out, obviously, then yeah, LeBron's a lock. So
yeah,
keep that in mind as well.
I'm just happy all these games are ending before 10:30.
I know, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. I don't have to stay up till 2.
I don't have to stay up till 9:30.
Yeah, old man. Old man.
All right, guys, if there's no more questions, it doesn't look like there are. I'm going to go ahead and get off here. Is Simmons a good play just for GPP? I don't think he's a necessarily good play tonight. He's a little bit overpriced. So with all that being said, guys, let's have a great night. If you haven't already, please hit that please hit that subscribe button. I've said it a million times already on the stream.
I know.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in. TJ, any last words?
Yeah, thanks for all the support, guys. Really appreciate it. We're going to continue to do everything we can to give you guys the best content and hopefully continue to give you guys good plays so you guys can cash along with us if you're not members. So, yeah, like I said, building blocks tonight, Drummond, Thad Young, Bruce Brown, Baisley, and then whatever you do from there is up to you.
And also follow us on all our socials, guys. Please share the support on all of our socials. We will be getting all of the injury news, all of our news in general to you guys on all of our platforms. So with all that being said, guys, have a great night and let's cash.